Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BLR Knowledge Center. In this session, we're going to talk about AngularJS services. So, AngularJS services is nothing but it's again one more object which is coming up in AngularJS to provide, the limited services or functions to the application model. So AngularJS has almost a built-in services, like 30 plus built-in services, where one of the service is called location or factory or service. These are some of the services comes under AngularJS. When we talk about the service, which basically available to provide some limitation, some limited functionality, as like if you want to get the URL of a location, I'm going to use a location service. Okay, so while you're creating a controller in AngularJS, you'll be defining your service, and that is a parameter you are going to pass it to your function. Okay, let me explain you more in detail of AngularJS services, and then we'll see the demonstration part how we're going to create AngularJS services. Okay. So when we talk about AngularJS services, right? Let me define this. AngularJS services supports the concept of separation of concern using service architecture. So this service architecture are JavaScript functions which are responsible to perform some specific tasks. So as I said, AngularJS services are objects or JavaScript functions which are responsible to perform only specific tasks. So this makes, right, individual entities which are maintainable and testable instead of controller. The controller and filters can call them on requirement basis. Okay. Services are normally injected using the dependency injection mechanism of AngularJS. Dependency injection mechanism of AngularJS. So, as I said, AngularJS has AngularJS has 30 plus about 30 plus built-in services. One of them is location. Okay. So this location service has methods which return information about the location. That means what is the URL, from where the URL is calling, what is the referrer, and what is the header kind of stuff from the request. Location of the current web page. For example, I'm going to have my app equal to angular dot model of my app dot controller of controller one. So for this function, along with scope variable, you need to pass location argument as well to get implement the services of AngularJS. Let us say like I want to get URL and assign it to my URL variable. Then I'm saying location dot ABS URL so that it will give you the absolute URL of my current web page. Okay, so similar to this, I'm going to create some more services like factory and service using factory method, right? We'll first define a factory and then assign method to it. And after that, using this service, I'm going to invoke those methods. So whatever methods we defined as service, then assign methods to it. We also inject already available services to it. Okay. So that means what I'm trying to say is, so there are two ways to create services. There are two ways to create services. Okay. One is factory, another one is service. Using factory, we first define a factory and then assign methods to it. For example, my app equal to Angular module of my app dot controller. Sorry, in this case, I want to define factory, right? Factory of math service. This is math service I'm going to create as part of factory. So for this, instead of this, I'm going to write var factory object. I'm defining it. Factory dot. I'm going to define some method inside of factory. Method is multiply equal to function of a comma b, right? And inside of this, I'm just saying a multiplied by b. Okay. So once it is done, I'm just returning the factory. Return factory. Okay. Similarly, using service, using so in this, we define a service and then assign methods to it. We also inject an already available services to it. Okay. We define a service and then assign methods to it. We also inject an already available service to it. So we define a service and then assign method. We also inject an already available service to it. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is my app service of, this is some, calculator service. Okay. Function of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this dot, or I can square equal to function of one parameter. I'm passing it, and here I'm saying a multiplied by a. This is square I'm saying. Okay. I'll do one thing. So I already having a method here, right? Multiply. I'm going to call this particular thing. So the name of this particular thing is math service. I'm going to say math service dot multiply of a comma a, right? This is going to invoke this, and this would be returning a multiplied by b. That means in this case, a multiplied by a. So let's see like how it is going to work in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'm going to take an example service.html, and I'll take this part here as it is common for, so for any HTML, this reference, and then inside of my body, okay, I'm going to have form tag. So inside of form, I'm going to have a div. And after this form tag, I'm going to first write the logic which I'm talking about here. Okay. So thing is, I wanted to first define the module name as mentioned, like, my app is a variable equal to angular dot module of my app, and then my app dot this factory of, this is math factory, right? I can say this is math service function of. So here I'm going to say var factory, just declaring an object, and to this factory dot multiply of function of a comma b, return a multiply by b. As this is a factory, I'm just returning factory object, and then I'm defining my service, right? Service of calculator service. So instead of the service, I'm just defining a variable called square, this dot square equal to function of a, and here I'm saying math service dot multiply of a comma a, so that it invokes my factory and then it executes this logic and returns value. Okay, so this is called service. Now after this, my app dot control. Now I'm going to create my controller. So this is service controller function of scope. Here I'm passing my service here, right? Call service. This is calculator service. And here scope dot square equal to function of, okay, dollar scope dot result equal to cal service dot square of scope dot number. So where is this number defined? So this number basically I'm getting from UI. Okay, so let me check here. I just created a model here and leave about this two. I create a controller, service controller, and for this fast scope, and this is one more parameter which is a service. Okay, as I explained, right, I can create n number of controllers, right? So this is something controller one, and it says I can pass built-in thing, and I'll just say scope dot my URL equal to, right, dot ABS URL. Got it? This is what I have explained here. Okay, so this I'm going to work out here, service controller. So now I'm going to my this HTML, and here ng app equal to my app, all locations too. this is my service controller. So in this, I'm going to enter a number. This is what I'm asking via base tag. Instead of this, I'm just defining input type equal to text box, right? This I'm binding to a number. Okay, so text, and this is binding to a number. Number is the model name. That number I'm using it here, scope dot number in the service controller, So now I'll be having a button which is going to have some click. Let me later I'll add it. So this button text is X, some super set of 2. I just want to pass this. Okay. And let me see how it is rendering. So this is how it is looks like X square. So this is X as a button. So I just mentioned the X is the button text, and this is the superscript of 2. Then it is rendering as X square. So for this button, I'm adding click event ng click equal to square, so that it is going to call the square method from the service controller, not here. The controller I'm talking about, because we have binded controller. Instead of controller, it will invoke this. And for this, I'm passing number for the cal service. Cal service again invoking this particular square, and again it is invoking my factory math service. Okay, let me see. Here I'm passing 9. When I click on this, right, it is calculated, but we're not seeing it. Let me see this result. That means we need to print a result. Result is keeping in result variable, right? This thing, sorry, result. This is the variable inside of service controller. That's why I just called result. When I say sum 9 and x square, oops, it's not working. What is service controller? I'm using it. This is cal service, and this is math service, and this is service controller. And for the service controller, oh, sorry, this is math service I've created by default as a factory, and this is fine. When it comes to service, I need to pass this math service parameter. Okay, so this math service, I'm going to use it here. Let me check. Oops, why it is clearing? Oh, what is the problem inside of it? So this is head tag, and this is body form tag, ng app and ng controller. Enter a number. Let me try this with number and ng model. Ng click is square. This is the result, and this is my app and math service factory multiplication, return a and j, and return factory. And this call service, math service multiply, and a comma a, which is fine now. And in this controller, I'm just passing a number, which is fine. It is where it is closing. This close here. No. Oh, okay. This is let me this remove this. Let me oh why it is clearing. I don't know. What is the problem? Is it to do something, anything with this AngularJS version? It is blinking. My God, what happened? AngularJS Services demo. Almost clear. HTML, AngularJS, and ng app. My app, and inside of this ng controller. This is service controller, which is fine. And the service controller is having the scope, square, function, and scope dot result equal to cal service square of scope number. This seems fine. And this is returning. And this is factory. And factory dot multiply equal function of a comma b in return a and factory return. Where is the problem? Why it is clearing? ng model number, input type text, ng click equal to square, ng app, and ng controller. Where is the problem? I'm gonna try this. So this is because of form tag, it seems. We'll remove this. Now I'm try this. 25 like this. So now what I've done is I just created a factory and I just created a service. For the service, I just passed a factory because from the factory, I'm going to get the service. So factory, which defines a kind of model, which will assign some functions to it. But service is basically using it to define methods and assign it. Along with that, it is going to, inject an already available service. In this case, I'm just assigning math service factory and then I'm using it. Okay. Similarly, so I have created one more this thing, right? So another controller. So for this, I'm just passing location. And here, what I did was I just defined one more variable and location dot abs url. Let me try to print this for service controller one. This is one more controller I'm going to create it. Let me define one more div ng controller equal to service controller one. And here I'm just printing my URL. Let's see what is coming. See here, this is what URL it is displaying it. So basically this is inbuilt service. Basically this location is inbuilt service, and these are custom created services, and we can say it's a dependency injection because I created a here factory, and that factory I'm just passing as a parameter, and I just create service controller. There's a controller I created for this. I'm just passing a service as a dependency injection. Okay, so with this, I'm calling my square method instead of service, and service again calling this factory method. Okay, so I hope you understood the concept of services, how we are going to create it. I just tried with these two and this particular built-in one. And like that, you can create a number of services, or you can use built-in 30 built-in services as part of AngularJS. So thanks for listening to this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.